Folks, how's everybody doing today? Nice, calm weekend Rudy video being filmed in advance here. And today we're going to talk about kind of survival of the fittest. And this time around, we're not talking about the actual card in Magic called Survival of the Fittest. But we're going to go ahead and address that because that's what most people are going to think of when they see the title of this video. Survival of the Fittest is a old Exodus Magic card. It is reserve list. I remember starting to buy them in collections and buy list many years ago for around $10, $20 a card. There is also a very, very rare Survival of the Fittest foil judge promo with like specialty art that was designed and kind of given out as a gift to the wizards and the judges of the wizards. Is the judge program a thing? Did they all get completely hosed? I heard they were just part of the Hose Town trip. Like Magic judges just rode on a bus and like the whole bus was filled with like Chuck Norris fists. Anyways, Wizards closed that loophole years ago, so there is no more, reserve list variant printing like Mox Diamond from the Vault and Judge promo of Survival of the Fittest. Anyways, this video is mostly about the changing marketplace, the changing landscape of the world, and why I feel that the Survival of the Fittest, the age-old kind of, the natural selection kind of progression of the world is going to really restructure the landscape and just kind of nuke a lot of LGSs around the world. So sit back. It is a standing Rudy bookcase video, but we're actually going to go into a longer, more in-depth conversation. I know I usually do these in the warehouse sitting down and more clear-minded, but I don't know, I'm feeling rambunctious and I'm feeling uppity tonight. I'm just feeling like a bamboozle train. So today, I want to discuss some of the metrics I've used. Like, for example, in the past, when a standard booster box starts to break above $100 a piece on TCG Player and eBay, and it's still in print and standard, we would view these certain metrics as okay, this is a hot product, expected value must be pushing up. There were certain metrics we used over the years to really kind of get a gauge on the market. Other metrics were, when the product's out of print, you would know when the supply of a standard Magic box fully is flushed through the system from distributors and the short-term Timmy LGSs with no capital that would just flip them and get them off their books. And you would know when that all comes to an end because that box would break that infamous 100, 105 a box on TCG Player and eBay. And you would know that's the time to make your move as an evil investor, beautiful 3% young lady, or just a collector in your third floor, stepmom's basement because she can't get out of the dryer. You would know those are the moments that you need to make your pouncing move. A little giggity there. But now, in 2021, post, just to refresh, golden era of Magic is deemed kind of 99 and earlier, where sealed boxes had reserve list cards. 2000 to about 2011, you had kind of that silver age before Wizards changed the print style, which was in the RTR Gatecrash Dragon's Maze block around that 2011, where they created the print to demand and that whole thing. They would evaluate the market, order additional print runs. So that changed everything and made everybody very bearish. And I told everybody in 2016 when I went public, do not use that as an excuse to stop buying products from the Khans of Tarkir, Kaladesh, Eldritch Moon era, because that is a tremendous opportunity and most people ridiculed me for years. Now we've left the Bronze era and War of the Spark and Core 20 was the end of that. And now we are in that flashy variant era where it's all about variants, flashy versions, frameless showcase, Rudy, ultimate box topper, extended art, super showcase art, very hard, long art, whatever terminology you want to use. The point is, it's the secret lair flashy era, okay? And I don't know where it's going to lead. So far, it appears this era is, even I got it wrong originally when I was like very cautious and negative and bearish on it, but the market and the direction of Papa Hasbro appears to be, the market is supporting it, and the data is starting to really come in because Throne of Eldraine's been fully out of print for a while. Throne of Eldraine collector boxes have been unavailable and out of print for 30 days since the release of Throne of Eldraine, and we're starting to see the data of flashy era products go out of print and how time and perspective is going to treat those products. And so far, it's unfortunately, like I've told you all in other videos, a part of me really wanted the collector boxes of Throne to not grow much and the standard draft boxes of Throne to outpace the collector boxes. So I can make follow-up videos saying, hey, draft boxes stay the course, blah, blah, blah. Collector box, flashy stuff, overpriced stuff isn't worth it. I was really hoping that would come true, and I kind of wanted to slant the videos and be manipulative. And wait, I'm not supposed to say that publicly? Wait, I do that anyways? You got me. I really was hoping it would go that way. Unfortunately, the data is showing collector boxes seem to be having a slightly faster appreciation than the draft boxes as of the filming this video, based on Theros being out of print, Core 21 being out of print, Throne of Eldraine, and Ikoria. Those all have the collector and the draft. Unfortunately, Zendikar Rising is not out of print yet, so we don't have any date. Remember, Zendikar Rising is the first one where they initiated the booster box fund, where they created set boxes and added it to the mix. So we have another couple years till we get information on set boxes aging. Now that I've kind of rambled and said all this stuff, for those of you still with me, let's really dig into the video. For those, I feel people at this point, when you start getting later in the video, the only people here really want to learn at this point. So we're going to make it more intricate now. Since inflation and the prices are moving and the market's reshaping how they evaluate things, we can't use any of our old metrics anymore. I can't say, Theros Beyond Death just broke $100 a box on eBay. It is off to the races. It's out of print. Market's flushed out. It's time to move forward. Everybody, lock and load. Let's back the truck up, build up the box positions. We can't do that. I did that with Amon Kitty Cat. Because Amon Kitty Cat, I didn't believe in it. Hour of Devastating Your Wall, that block with the invocations and the card frames you couldn't read, I didn't do that. But when Amon Cat went out of print and the box prices started to move up rapidly, and I saw them on the open market break 100 a lot quicker than I expected, I did go back to other stores and distributors and say, hey, what do you got left? I'll pay the higher price, flush them out, dump them to me, take my money. And I ended up doing that with Amon Cat, so I did not, get my cost basis at the $77, $78 a box. I ended up having a cost basis at $85, $90 a box for Amon Cat, 20% higher, because after I sold to the patrons, which barely anybody bought it, I went back and realized not having position in even products I didn't like was a screw up on my point. I realized that a little too late, but not too late where I couldn't rectify the situation. So obviously now that filming this video, Amon Kitty Cat is heading to $300 a box, even paying over 20% higher than I would normally pay to the $77, $78, even paying $85 to $90. Who cares? The box is almost $300. A $10 swing in cost basis means nothing. So there are moments like that when I realize my mistake and misjudge on the perspective in what I feel is going to happen. I get it wrong, and I have to self-correct. And that was a great time I realized that. Same thing with Kaldheim. Kaldheim is going to be a $1,000 box. That's why, when I had a huge blitz in the end of 2020, first month of January of 2021, I started buying Kaldheim, put a video on YouTube saying, everyone's selling me your Kaldheim. I'm paying you literally 80% full eBay pricing. If eBay's $350 a box, take off your shipping and fees, you're going to net $300. I'll pay you the full $300 and I'll cover your shipping. So you want to sell on eBay and take a risk, or you just sell and have a risk-free transaction and you'll net the same amount post fees. And of course, I was able to absorb a large position into Kaldheim and expand my position to over 500 boxes. Why? Because even at $300 a box, and I know I sold those boxes to patrons for $80, whatever. You can't let price memory dictate and lead you down a path of regrets, irritation, and poor decisions. You have to self-correct. So, even buying Kaldheim at $300 in January of 2021, fourth quarter of 2020, I knew I had to suck it up, take the hit, and pretty much buy one box at $300 instead of buying 3-4 boxes like I could have done at release. But I knew the box price. I had if this was Wall Street, I had a price target of like $1,000 a box in Kaldheim, and I still do. I think Kaldheim is $450 now, something like that, with taxes and shipping. But the supply is devastatingly low. It's insultingly low. The slightest thing, it's going to be $1,000 a box. It's just a matter of when, and I built my position, and I'm just letting you know, and I'm waiting for it. Now, I'm telling you all this, and I'm laying all this framework out because now that inflation is rewiring how we see things, the $100 crossing that point for draft boxes is invalid. With Wizards raising prices, shipping going through the roof, we are now about to hit our next shipping increase from the United States Postal Service in like a week or something. That's our fourth or fifth shipping increase cost within 2 years. The fastest, most amount of price increases ever in a short period of time in the history of the United States Postal Service. Now, whether you hate them, you think they're idiots and they're ran poorly and government, this and that, I don't care. It's a different conversation. I'm just telling you what's going on. With on the backs that Hasbro firmly states we're going to raise prices across the board before the end of the year. And I believe them. With PayPal just launching and adjusting their higher fee rate for everyone around the country. That's a big deal. Okay? So when you factor in all these things, okay, and I see what's going on, you have to come up with new metrics. So for example, everybody, StrixHaven or Adventures of Forgotten Realm draft boxes. Both of them are in print. Actually, the D&D draft boxes are still in allocation period. You can't even request them from Wizards at all. These new products, both of which are already over $100 a box on the open market. Now the problem is, this time around, that $100 number does not mean what it meant in the last 10 years that I've been using this metric. This time around, it's due to supply shortages because they're funneling all the excess product to Papa Jeff Bezos as he shoots himself into space in a penis-shaped rocket because he's a billionaire and it's like a big middle finger to the working people of the world. I think Amazon is Amazon the #1 employer in the United States? I heard somebody tell me Amazon employs more people than any other country in the United States. That's crazy. That's crazy. And you got Lex Luthor shooting himself in penises in space. It's only in 2021. And, you know, I do own Amazon stock. I'll be honest with you guys. I own common stock shares of Amazon, and I own a couple actual long-term call options on Amazon. Well, technically leaps because they expire in like 2 years. And I just think Amazon's going to take over the world. It's crazy. So when we look at this, the reason we have StrixHaven and D&D sets at these inflated prices is not because the product's doing extremely well and everybody's doing mass box openings and all that. This time around it's happening because inflation has risen the sea level. And the sea level's gone up so much, all of us as little ships have gone up with it. So now the new metric, at this point in time, I've had to redo my system. Now, unless a standard box goes out of print and breaks above 110 to 120, that's the same as breaking above 100 in the last 10 years. That's pretty much, I've adjusted the numbers 10 to 20% higher for an inflationary adjustment. And the sad part about it is, coming out of 2020, the majority of you all watching this video, the majority of normal working people around the United States and around the world who are watching, have not experienced a 20+% wage increase. And of course, unfortunately, majority of people in the United States are paid on a W-2 and they work for an employer. That employer, you can't just go in their office and say, hey, I want a 20% pay increase because of inflation. The employer's probably going to laugh at you. I would assume so. I don't know. I live in a basement and, I work for Timmy. But the point is, we are experiencing a lot of changes. And only the most adaptive, evolutionary, ninja style LGSs, investors, collectors, and players are going to survive this very abrupt shift. Okay? I don't think the regular population and regular working class of the United States and around the world fully grasp the mechanics and gears that are turning in the direction they are turning. And it's very frustrating. It's very irritating. And like I even told my patrons, I've been doing this for 6 years. For the first 5 years, I'd never had to raise prices above $79.99 for draft boxes. For 5 years. And now I have to raise prices like crazy. And you step back and say, wait a minute, how come Rudy was able to go 5 years and leave it? And all of a sudden he's got to jack prices up. That's a pretty abrupt behavior shift. Just to keep the numbers and margins in line with the Patreon subscription and the fees from them, and then just to keep it without becoming too out of whack, where a patron for $15 a month buys everything and just hoards it all, makes a ton of money long term. But again, if they buy a full case of 6 boxes, I can't lose more than $13, because that's what I actually get from each $15 patron. You understand what I'm saying? I had to keep the numbers within a certain range. Otherwise, there's be months where I'd be negative $50,000. It's insane. It's insane. And when I see stuff like that, what's frustrating is when all these companies and shipping and Wizards and boxes and tape companies and postage and PayPal, they all raise fees. I'm forced to do it. And all you're doing is the entire system, the numbers and percentages are all the same across the board. But the end user, end customer, end person, end normal person, family guy, regular person, they're the one who has to foot the bill. And that's the most irritating, just frustrating thing. Because it's the regular person that gets the weight on the back and takes the hit and can't do anything about it. And the worst part about it is, I would estimate between 50 and 80% of Americans in this country have no assets. Whether it's collectibles, real estate, stocks, equities, debts, crypto, I don't know, stamp collection, adult, large, vibrating fish tanks. Yeah, that's a meme. You know, it's one of these things where unless you have assets that adjust with that adjusting ocean level, where your little assets move up and down with it, you just get clobbered. And examples of this will be some of my, like my friends who are in the automotive industry that I used to do when I was younger, and they're still in it. And some of these people work for certain car companies, okay? And, you know, some of them are technicians, and they get paid their $20 an hour flat rate, if you understand what that means. Not hourly, but they're paid based on how much work and how much actual wrenches and jobs they turn and all this stuff. And while the dealerships are raising their hourly wage from $100 to $150 to $200 an hour, these technicians are still averaging like $15 to $22 an hour. And most of them have been making that same $15 to $22 an hour for the last 10 years. And now they're still making $20 an hour flat rate. The only difference is in the last 10, 15 years, essentially everything has minimum doubled. Many asset classes like magic and collectibles have 3, 5, 10x. Stock market, 3, 5, 10x, depending what sector or even the SPY as a whole. You know, that's the frustrating thing. But these normal people working at your grocery store, maybe someone working in the seafood or meat or the bakery department at your local grocery store, whatever you have around you, even if it's just a Walmart, I guarantee you their pay that may have been, I don't know, $13, $15 an hour 10 years ago, they're probably still making $15, $16 an hour. It hasn't changed. They clock in, they clock out. They're on a fixed schedule and system. And that's the frustrating part about all this. While the corporations are able to continue to increase the prices to keep their margins the same. And the reason I'm laying all this out is because the survival of the fittest concept is something that's been around in nature since the dawn of time. And more than ever in the history of magic, collectibles, LGS's, distributors, this is one of the biggest reasons that these new games of the Dragon Ball Supers, the Final Fantasies, Yu-Gi-Oh! Still holding its own, MetaZoo coming out of nowhere, Flesh and Blood just shocking the world and everybody thought it was a joke. And all these new guys are popping up. And the ones that are ran well are, they're just storming forward. They're going for it. They're running full speed ahead. And that's one of the reasons, if done properly, there's almost never been a better opportunity to launch a new product. Because distributors and LGSs all over the country are almost begging and thriving and just wanting, they crave it, a new card game or someone else to come along to compete with the Pokemon product they can't get, or the Magic product that's insulting with no margins and competing with Amazon and Papa Penis Bezos. Do you see my point? Between these categories, you wonder why MetaZoo comes out and it's just like wildfire. Unbelievable. Unflippin' believable what's happening. And Flesh and Blood came out and just continues. Now people are just going nuts waiting for Tales of Aria, first edition pre-orders everywhere and just selling out, relisting it higher, selling out, relisting higher. You know, and sure, Monarch came out, went to 650, tanked all the way to 200, now it's back to 300. I don't know why anyone still considers that a failure, but in my eyes, that they're still storming ahead. By the way, if you have any sealed Monarch first edition, this is my plug in the video. This video is sponsored by me. Please contact me at AlphainvestmentsLLC@gmail.com. I'll pay you $200 a box for Monarch and pay your shipping. I prefer sealed cases with no limits. Just send me a contact. Hey, Rudy, I got stuff. I want to send me your PPs, which is pictures and prices. Don't be creepy. And yeah, and I will buy your product at no risk. Remember, let me take the collapse before Flesh and Blood goes to zero. Let me take the risk. Don't hold your sealed Flesh and Blood. Let me take the risk before the game gets caught being a fad? Scam? Ponzi scheme? What's the worst word we can think of? Enron. No, BitConnect. Hey. Sorry. Back on track of the video. The point is, this entire survival of the fittest concept is something that has never been more raw and just brutal. That's what I'm getting at. It's getting worse, and it's going, and now that we're coming off that high of 2020, 2021 first quarter, even though as the filming, this crypto's roaring back and money's starting to flow again, so that this downturn may be cut short, but just be aware, most stores are not going to make it long term. It's not really because Pokemon's going to die or Flesh and Blood's going to die or Magic's going to die. But it's really because the inflationary pressures of overhead, fixed costs, labor, margins, and the cost of doing business is going to just cannibalize and eat these small businesses alive. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Under no circumstances, I don't care who you are, what your game plan is of having alcohol or strip magic and, you know, having a weird poker, gambling club, casino, magic, I don't know, strippers and, I don't know, video games or whatever you're into. I don't care. I do not recommend anyone run or start an LGS in the market of 2021. Unless there's one giant but, and we all like those kind of giant buts, so we're going to let it be. If you have an online presence or you have a secondary online major business you've already built, it's already profitable, you've already have tremendous income coming in from YouTube or, I don't know, what's the other stuff, Tumblrs and Insta tweets and snaps, and unless you're already making big money on your Tinder, wait, that's a dating service. Unless you're already making all your money on Ashley Madison, that's a dating thing too. Unless you're making all your money on the fish website, the cheaper than fishes, no. Everyone's fish, what's that stupid fish website? Somebody hashtag tell me the fish dating website. I remember we used to talk about it years ago. It was like a meme. Plenty of fish, got it. Okay, unless you already have a business that's profitable and you want to expand and add collectibles and scoop it in, that's different because you already have something that's sustainable and you're not incurring additional fixed costs. So that's what I wanted to do. Long rant, long ramble. The point is, the world's a-changing, folks. A lot of the weaker fish are going to fall. And remember, do not consider running businesses or starting things. You need a minimum of 6 figures. If you don't have 100,000 plus, I still stand, you shouldn't even be talking about it. If you don't have another business already sustainable that you can expand into collectibles, you're going to get clobbered. And I feel that these changing margins, and with Amazon and Wizards working together, that is the biggest game-changing variable in modern Magic history. I cannot emphasize that enough. The fact that Amazon is setting prices with Wizards is the biggest just shockwave to the world of Magic, probably since 2011 when they started printed demand. It's the biggest change in 10 years. So I hope you all learned something today. That's all I have. I don't know. Give me a hashtag Ashley Madison if you actually watched the end of this. Have a great day. Hope you all learned something. I'm just going to walk slowly off camera and make it really, really creepy. And I hope you guys enjoy your weekend.